Hey guys, a lot of news is coming from the Trump government on the US visa front, and they're making a lot of big immigration reforms, and some of these directly impact anybody who wants to study or work in the US anytime soon. And some of them are high impact ones, they can immediately impact your future personal and professional plans in the US. So, if you're aspiring to study there, you really need to stop and watch this video. I will be covering the most important reforms they are proposing and also some fine details there which are not as prominently covered in the news items, but you need to know what they mean for you. So all this on the other side of the intro. Keep watching. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Nishta from Scholar Strategy and 24 North Star. I put my comments on all the news that's happening around study abroad and work abroad situation pertinent to Indian students and professional. So Trump is back at his attack again. I want to cover about 3 important announcements that his administration has made in past few weeks, because this really makes your life difficult. Number 1 is the H-1B lottery changes. Number 2 is the F-1 visa duration change. And number 3 is the neighborhood vetting rule. So let's talk about these. But before I get into the first one, just want to say that, like, if you're finding the content on this channel useful, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It really helps me with the algorithm and it encourages me to keep putting out content like this. Also, our private exclusive community Inner Circle is live and kicking for fall 2026 applicants, where we are having a lot of discussions around how to strategize the applications, but also what's happening, profile evaluation, those kind of things. I'm leaving the link in the description box below. Check it out if you want to work more closely with me. Now let's start with the first point, which is the H-1B lottery change rule. So I've already talked about the H-1B lottery change rule in detail in this previous video. Do check it out if you want to understand it more fully. Now Trump has been after H-1B since a long time. Even in his last presidency, he tried to do some things, and lately he has made some very venomous comments against H-1B and India particularly, that, like, he's telling companies not to hire Indians, and his aide Steve Bannon made a comment that, like, H-1B visa system has been uncontrollable. So the attacks are happening on all fronts, and the recent reform they proposed was to make the H-1B lottery not random, but instead tie it to the wage levels and salary for that particular job role. Now, US government identifies 4 wage level for each H-1B job. Level 1 is the entry level, level 2 is the mid management, let's say, and level 3 is senior, and level 4 is expert level. Now, each job role has its own wage levels defined across the country and also geography specific. This is all I covered in that previous video. So what it means that software engineering will have its own average salaries, like, level 1 could be around 85K, and level 4 could be 180K plus. But of course, data administrators will have lower wage levels because their average salaries are lower. Now, what this means, interestingly, is that they are saying that if you file H-1B in a higher wage level, you will have a higher chance of getting picked up in the lottery. So somebody in the level 4 will have higher chance as opposed to somebody in the level 1. Now, Didi Das, who's an influencer on LinkedIn, made an interesting post around this, and he said that this means that, like, the Infosys project managers, which are typically filed at level 3 or level 4, even though their salary may not be as high as software engineer salaries, but they will have a better shot at lottery than a new grad student like you who's entering the lottery with a wage level 1 for software engineering jobs. And of course, this is awful, right? So even if you are somebody who has put more efforts into studying in the US, who are more talented, and who a better company wants you, but, like, because you are getting filed at level 1 or level 2, you will have much lower chances in the lottery than the senior guy. So this completely changes the game, and if you were banking upon the fact that you will go study in the US, graduate, find a H-1B job to be there for the long term, then those plans are going to get canned if this rule gets into impact. And from what I'm reading, this law might get passed as early as 2027, and then so the career planning will have to change entirely. And this is why I say the future of H-1B is looking very uncertain and scary right now. So even if you're heading to US, don't leave your future hanging on the H-1B lottery. Start thinking of O-1 or some other visa which can help you stay there in the long term without being at the mercy of Trump administration. Second law or the rule is the changing the F1 visa duration. So right now F1 visa is valid for as long as your program continues. So sometimes PhDs take 7 or 8 years to graduate. So you will technically have the F1 visa running for all that time. And like, it's the valid until date is mentioned on your I-94. But now they are changing it to a fixed term, and they're proposing that for F1 visa, they're setting a fixed term limit of 4 years. That means your F1 visa, once issued, gives you only 4 years of legal access in the US. And if you want to stay beyond that, even if your program is continuing or something like that, you need to get a reapproval. So you need to submit fresh documentation, you need to make a fresh case, and they can again evaluate you. So definitely impacts the bachelor students because they need 4 years, and if for any reason, if their course runs even a semester long, they will have to get this approval. And of course, all the PhD candidates, if they're like, they're not able to defend their thesis or graduate within 4 years. Now, this can be risky because again, you don't know what will happen at that time. And for any reason, if they decide not to let you continue, then what happens with your degree? What happens with your graduation? So all those big question marks are there, and this definitely impacts all the international students, majority of which are Indian and Chinese. So yes, this impacts you big time. And third news I want to talk about, or that grabbed my attention, was the neighborhood vetting rule. Now we have all been reading about, like, how Trump wants to do background checks on all 55 million visa holders, and want to check for potential anti-American sentiments, and they can deport anybody who has, like, violated any of the visa rules previously. But within that news item itself, there was a clause, or there was a line that said, like, it did not get as much press, but I do think of it as a big red flag. And it says that the US government is expanding its immigration background checks to include not only you, but also your neighbors and co-workers, which means that when you're applying for a visa or green card, authorities may interview people who live near you or work with you, even in India or in US, to check for any security risks or concerns. Now, this has two implications. Firstly, it's going to just delay the whole process, right? Doing background checks or doing neighborhood checks, visits, making sure the person is there, talking to them, and then submitting your approval report, etc. That takes some time, so it's going to add those delays. Secondly, if any of your neighbor or co-worker says anything, even if they did not do it intentionally, but it sounds suspicious to the authorities, they can put your application on hold on the ground that, like, this neighborhood check did not go successfully. So this just introduces a new complication in the whole process, which was already complicated enough. I mean, getting a green card is such a nightmare for Indians, and now if you introduce a neighborhood vetting kind of thing, and we all know that neighbors, in today's environment, when, like, we don't know who's thinking what of their neighbors, and especially if you're living in a white neighborhood or something, people might maliciously misuse this rule to kind of, like, put your application on hold. So I am very, very wary of this, because for no fault of yours, there would be some people who maliciously say something against their neighbors, and years of your work is just going to go down the drain because you were not able to clear this neighborhood check. So this is just another level of, like, unpredictable hurdle that you have no control on, that gives another avenue for the government to put your application on hold. So not a good news at all. And this is not all. I mean, there is, like, we faced a lot of difficulties for fall 2025 student visas. Some of my students, despite having great admits, despite having a good profile and everything in place, they were not able to get their student visa in time because the slots were just not open, and they are having to, like, defer their admissions or something like that. So all that sucks. I mean, we are hearing news that, like, visa processing delays have been record high this year, and there might be a 70% drop in the Indian student numbers if, like, such kind of visa backlogs persist. So which is very, very unfortunate. Secondly, from 1st October onwards, there's going to be a new visa fee called integrity fee added to your visa expenses, and that is massive. Like, it's $250 integrity fee, which means additional 22,000 rupees that you will have to pay. US visa application is already one of the most costliest, and now add this fee, even though this is supposed to be refundable. So the way it works is, like, once you get your visa issued in certain categories, and this includes student and tourist category, you will have to pay this integrity fee so that you don't overstay the duration of your visa, and you can claim it back once you're leaving the country in proper time, etc. But again, it's that added step, like, you will have to submit some documentation, make your case, etc., and then get your money back, and there could again be another loophole or some delays there. So it's that added extra expenses happening on the visa fee. There is also some other surcharge that Trump government is proposing, like I-94 fee of $24. So all these quickly add up. And there was a report by, I think, First Post, which said, like, the visa cost might double or triple by next year if things happening like this. So all this is pretty ridiculous, I would say. And this all seems singularly attacked against Indians, which I think is strategic given the current geopolitical situation. So obviously, we have all been reading about, like, the way Trump is putting tariffs on India. So there is a political war going on between US and India, and I think they have realized that, like, the biggest export from India is not just textiles or jewelry, it's actually this human capital. So much talent going out from India to US in form of students, in form of professionals who work there for H-1B visas, etc. And by making their life difficult, they are just putting this additional pressures on Indian government to succumb to their political demand. So I don't want to get into the political discourse here, but it's very, very unfortunate that innocent Indian students like you are getting caught in this political war, but it is what it is. So overall, when people ask me what's going on, so one thing I'm very clear on is, like, I had a very good time applying to studying and living in US in those years. But the environment back then was so different. And somebody was saying, I think it was Fareed Zakaria said that, like, all previous US administrations have meant very good diplomatic ties with India. And whatever Trump is doing right now is undoing all that good work. So obviously, it's a very tense situation between US and India. Very, very unfortunate. So whatever I've gone through does not apply to you guys. And in this current situation, when they're making H-1B so difficult, and there's also news around OPT ban, etc., I've not covered it because it's still hypothetical. Let me find out more before I make a video on that. But the thing is, if things like this keep happening, then I don't want you guys to be banking on US alone. You should definitely start considering other options. I think Germany, Australia are coming out as, like, good options. I'm not that sure about Canada because, again, there's a political turmoil there. UK, I think job issues, job market is questionable there. So again, I'm talking about these in one of our videos, like, again, comparing what's happening in 2025 in all these countries so that you can make a more well-informed decision. But yes, you should create more options is something I'm definitely advising. Do not put all your eggs in the US basket right now. And even if you're heading there, it's okay. But make sure you're not relying on H-1B alone, and start working on the O1 visa profile for yourself from day one. So those are some of the actionable things that you can do. But if you have more questions, comments, suggestions, or if I've missed anything in today's video, please do let me know in the comments below. I would love to know what you guys are thinking. So that's it from my side. Hang in there. I hope this too shall pass. I hope not before it's too late. So I will see you guys next week with a fresh new video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.